Tonight on WDAY News at 5:30, you might have been out today prepping for tonight's winter storm. We'll tell you how some local businesses had to adjust today after a pretty quiet winter.
And the March snowstorm has arrived. We'll have an updated look at the snowfall forecast, plus when the wind cranks up.
And it's that wind that's making it difficult for plows. We'll talk to Fargo Public Works crews who have been battling the snow already and tell you how they're adjusting. And we'll begin right away with weather. The snow has been falling for a while now. This is Vero video from around the region. Not really sticking to the main roads just yet, but you definitely need to put your windshield wipers on. As the snowflakes get heavier, the wind is picking up and starting to blanket the grass. So good evening, everyone. That snow and wind, not done. We'll bring in Storm Tracker meteorologist Jesse Ritka right away with a first look at our forecast. Jesse.
Yeah, the wind really hasn't kicked up a whole lot just yet. That is going to do so, but major changes. If you've been waiting and watching this storm, there have been a lot of changes to the alert. So look down to the south. This is a massive storm system. Blizzard warnings across South Dakota down through Nebraska. Winter storm warnings encompassing a good chunk of Minnesota and South Dakota. This has been adjusted slightly farther to the south. So now winter storm warnings in effect for Fargo, Moorhead, Cass, Clay County through Lakes Country, stretching up through the arrowhead of Minnesota. However, Grand Forks down through Jamestown, Cooperstown, you're now in a winter weather advisory. That is going to mean that those snow totals are lower. We are battling some drier air. I have adjusted the snowfall totals for what we're expecting, mainly because, again, the dry air. Also, we've got, yes, the snow pushing through at the moment, a little heavier band starting to make its way up along the I-29 corridor, approaching Mayville, Reynolds. This will make its way to the Grand Forks area where you don't have snow accumulating on the ground just yet. But this big area right here, this is a gap. This is a little bit of a lull that I'm expecting to push through our region later on this evening and into the early hours of tonight. That doesn't mean we're done with the snow. There's still more to come. And in fact, this storm system is just trying to pull out of the mountains, and it's going to continue to intensify as it does so. So that means our wind is going to intensify as well. A live look across the region, though, you can see there's no snow on the ground at the moment in Grand Forks. I do expect that to change tonight. Winds starting to pick up a little bit. Very different view in the Fargo-Moorhead area, visibility down to about a mile. But notice, because the temperature are just below the freezing mark, we're not seeing a whole lot of accumulation on the streets and roadways just yet. That will be changing. And again, some of the roads, especially along I-94, this was just earlier on I-94 near Evansville, Minnesota. We've been seeing a few and hearing a few spots where there have been semis and trucks off the side of the road. So this evening, snow, then a little bit of a lull. Monday morning, snow, and the wind will really be cranking up. We'll forecast or time that out for you and coming up in the Storm Tracker forecast, Mackenzie.
All right, thank you, Jesse. So now let's take a look at those road conditions on the maps. Starting with North Dakota, the solid purple and dotted purple lines mean covered in snow or scattered snow drifts. And you can see that around Williston, Wahpeton, Fargo, and Bismarck. And the solid and dotted yellow lines mean covered or scattered ice. And you can see that almost everywhere else except for the northeast corner, where the roads are okay for now. Heading over to Minnesota, the blue lines mean partially covered, and you can see that all around the Twin Cities, Rochester, Moorhead, and Walker. The pink lines mean completely covered, and you can see that through much of the central part of the state. The southwest and northwest roads, they are okay for now. And remember, you can always stay up to date on the latest weather conditions. Just download our Storm Tracker weather app for free. That's where you can find hour-by-hour forecasts, closures. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now to download, or search it in the Apple app or Google Play Store. So as crews with Fargo Public Works continue to clear the roads of the snow we've already gotten, they say they're really fighting the wind as it continues to come down. WDAY News reporter Sarah Biena-May talked with the street department supervisor on how they've been adjusting. She joins us live in the studio with more. Sarah.
Mackenzie, Mike Weaver with Fargo Public Works says they started pre-treating the roads last night and haven't stopped monitoring the roads since then. From sanders to plows, he says they have 26 people working until the next shift comes in. At this moment, they're out scraping the slush and ice off the roads to get ready for the next round of snow. Before clearing residential roads, he says they're going to go through emergency routes first. Since they'll be on the roads all day, Weaver urges drivers to stay back about 4 car lengths of space from any snowplow.
It's just as hard for us to see out there as it is for everybody else. You know, even though we're in bigger equipment, takes a lot longer to stop, and it gets icy with the wind blowing across some of this wet stuff.
Coming up tonight at 10, you'll hear how many more people are coming in tonight to work. Reporting live, Sarah Bianame, WDAY News.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Well, we could learn more tomorrow about a homicide and an officer-involved shooting in Larimore, North Dakota that happened yesterday. The North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation and Grand Forks County Sheriff's Office are leading it. They say yesterday afternoon they were called to this trailer by Larimore Elementary School. A woman called police saying she had just witnessed the homicide of a man inside the home. As police were responding, a family member of the victim showed up and crashed into the home. The alleged shooter stayed inside. Police say he then shot at a SWAT team who then fired gas into the home along with ramming a hole into it. At that point, the suspect came out. They say at first he cooperated, but then made a motion suggesting he had a gun. A deputy then shot him twice. The suspect survived, but is in the hospital. Now, the sheriff says he plans to release more information tomorrow. That could include the names of those involved, a condition update on the suspect, potential charges, and the circumstances of the event. Well, no foul play is suspected after a woman was found dead this morning in Minot. Police say a 66-year-old woman was found laying on the ground at the intersection of 36th Avenue Northwest and Kodiak Street. That's just west of Ramstad Middle School in North Minot. Police say while they have told the family they have not released her name, and even though there is an investigation underway, police say the death is not suspicious. So only 12.5% of people in Minnesota are up to date on their COVID-19 vaccinations. This according to the Minnesota Department of Health. Those numbers were released late last week. So the definition of up to date includes people 65 and under who have received at least one dose of the latest vaccine. People 65 or older need 2 doses, and only 1% of those Minnesotans are up to date. Those rates are down more than 50% from the last COVID report. Although hospitalizations continue to trend downward, the Department of Health says 331 deaths have been at least partially caused by COVID so far this year. And a handful of new bills in the Minnesota State Legislature is looking to make it easier for healthcare workers to get licensed in the state. Right now, when a dentist, nurse, or speech-language pathologist wants to work and move to and work in Minnesota, they need to apply and get licensed. It could take several months for a person to get approved, though. However, a trio of new bills would have the state join interstate licensure agreements for certain health professions, which would streamline the approval process. Supporters say it would improve the healthcare workforce in the state. And you can read more about the bills right now on our website, Inforum.com. Well, some local grocery stores felt the rush today, with many of you preparing for tonight's snow. Coming up next on WDAY News, why one family fair prepped as early as Friday for the Sunday shopping.
And it's not just us feeling the flakes. These guys are sticking it out in the snow, too. Thanks to Gail and Larry for sending in these 2 great shots of the wildlife out there during the snowstorm. We're tracking the increasing wind coming up.